I'm assuming nobody here watched the introduction video, so to recap, my aim here is to look past technical limitations, historical significance, everything that doesn't stand the test of time, and look at only the experience that lies at the core of Dragon Quest I. Not the feelings it invoked in a contemporary audience, but the ones that a modern player will still experience to this day and that are a crucial part of the identity that a remake couldn't possibly remove without losing its identity. So what have I distilled this game down to? Dragon Quest I is an extremely accessible game that anyone can get into. It's simple in the mechanics, the world, the available player verbs. If you dissected the path to the final boss, it would only be a handful of pointers. The small side stories are all only loosely connected and unimportant, which gives the game some pick-up and playability. Whether it's the cave with the princess or the town protected by a golem, you can basically do whatever there is to do in different areas in whatever order you stumble across them. The closest to an overarching theme is that you're following someone's footsteps. The stakes therefore don't feel that high. You're not treading new ground, you're not a chosen hero of legends, but you're gathering his gear to help you on your adventure. The path ahead was already laid out for you ages ago. Your responsibilities are pretty low, all things considered. Plus, there's no constant reminders of the Dragon Lord. You only meet him once and that's at the very end of the game. And while his castle is immediately visible from the start, it doesn't seem intimidating. In fact, it's no different from every other castle. It gives you a tangible goal, yet you're not being pressured like you would be if every other town was heavily impacted by the Dragon Lord and had a side story about how everything went to shit. This vibe is helped greatly by the timeless designs, which are simple yet elegant. All the monsters you can fight here have already been turned into plushies. All that I've mentioned, combined with the fitting compositions, results in a cozy atmosphere. It won't quite put you in a state of flow though, because the game isn't engaging enough for that. A modern audience won't find themselves getting stuck often, since they will be able to more easily pick up on context clues. But since hints can be very sparse, they will progress smoothly, but while aimlessly wandering. If you happen to walk into the wrong neighborhood and die, you respawn at a pretty central location, and this nudges you into exploring elsewhere, where the enemies are closer to your strength. This way the game guides you to the correct areas. There will however be some instances where the path forward is clear since you explored everywhere else, but you need to grind to actually be able to take it. How much you need to grind depends on the version, and the remakes try to remove the necessary grinding, but none of them hit the perfect balance, even if they got closer than the NES version. Similarly, feeling lost will often be a part of the experience, but it doesn't have to be. In a perfect world, you will get lost, but be at ease and just enjoy the ride wherever it takes you. Dragon Quest I feels like solving a jigsaw puzzle. It will always be a similar time investment no matter who solves it, and the time invested in it is the #1 factor that goes into solving it for your first time. You need to figure some things out, but you are bound to figure them out eventually if you just try to fit every piece. Similarly, you might know what piece would fit, but finding it in your box of pieces can still take a good while. It's a lot of trial and error, but if you get annoyed at it, you can always step away and getting right back in is very easy. It can also be done in a single afternoon. It's a more passive activity that will be relaxing to a lot of people, and I often hear anecdotes of people doing it as a sort of side activity while watching TV. Emulation speed up or a remake increasing the EXP gain would be equal to putting the pieces out of the box beforehand and spreading them out. So to summarize, Dragon Quest I at its best is a simple adventure where the complexity stems from the macro progression, finding out where to go, whereas everything to do with the micro progression, leveling up, traversing dungeons, exploring towns or getting through a battle is incredibly simple to understand. And while the leveling is relatively slow, every level up manages to feel meaningful, and you are told how much progress you've made to the next level whenever you save. The dungeons are short to get through and don't have gimmicks or puzzles, meaning you can easily make progress in a short burst of play, though you mightn't immediately know how said progress actually ties into the main objective. But as long as you simply go explore something new, your time is never wasted. Dragon Quest 1 is a game you can comfortably get lost in and still have a sense of purpose. It's cozy with friendly looking enemies and mostly relaxing music, even a pretty chill battle theme. Sadly, that's not all there is to the game, and all versions come with a bit of baggage. The most current ones look like cheap RPG Maker games, and in the second most recent version on the Game Boy Color, the hero is nearsighted. I'm actually a fan of the short cutscene at the beginning, because while it would have ruined the moment in the NES version, where you find the Dragon Lord and he's just some dude that makes you think, really, this is it, until he reveals his final form, but by now everybody expects the second phase, so the cutscene doesn't take anything away. The SNES version used the Dragon Quest V engine, so it doesn't have battle animations, and needless to say the NES version is basically unplayable. The NES version has no charm with its old English translation, it looks bad and stinks. I'd argue the NES localization doesn't get what Dragon Quest is even about. In my opinion, none of the options are good, and needless to say, playing this game isn't worth it with the currently available versions. If I had to choose, it would be the Game Boy Color or Super Famicom version on emulator while making generous use of speed up. I'd love to someday see another remake that doesn't just update the graphics of a game that by today's standards seems like a proof of concept, that doesn't puppeteer its long rotting corpse onto a next platform. I'd love to someday see another remake that gives a fuck.